Here's a little bit of behind the scenes insight for you guys. If any of my videos ever have this lighting, that means that I'm filming this at night because I usually rely on daylight to do these. And it's too late to do that now. And when that happens, that's not a good sign because usually that means that I got onto my Artist Way tasks really late. I try to do them Sunday to Sunday, and if I'm making these at night, it means that I didn't get my tasks finished into Sunday. This is the worst example of that. It is now 11:50 p.m. on Sunday as I record this. I just finished my Artist Way tasks tonight and wrote up my notes. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. This was an interesting week, but I also feel like, unfortunately, I didn't really manage my time all that well this week. I feel like the last 2 weeks I've done these, I've had excuses for why I wasn't as committed as I would have liked to have been. 1 week I was doing a lot of work, the other I was sick, and I wasn't really feeling the tasks as much. This week I really have no excuse other than the fact that I just didn't manage my time all that well. And here we are, paying the price for it, filming this video at almost midnight. But that's life. So we're going to power through this video because, yeah, frankly speaking, I just want to get to bed. But it's important to me that I commit to this. As I mentioned, though, this was actually a really interesting week, and I felt like a lot resonated with me in the topics and the tasks this week. This was one of the ones that I felt just the most connected to so far, and really felt, despite the fact that I was a bit delayed on them, I really reaped the benefits and got a lot out of it. And I'm going to get into that. Julia gets into listening. It's a lot of thought that ideas just flow through you, and you have to be open to listen to them and let them come out. That's something I've talked a lot about in these videos. That's something I'm really trying to tap into now and be open to. And I think I'm coming a long way. And one example of that this week was there was one night where, for whatever reason, I just felt like making a comic. I don't know. I used to draw comics as a kid. I read them a lot growing up, and I just grabbed some sheets of paper. I started drawing. I drew out the panels, and just with each panel, I had no idea what was going to come out of me. I just kind of winged it the entire time, and it was so much fun. I had such a blast, and even though what I made was really shitty, I'm pretty proud of it, and that was just a total whim. I just listened to my wants, and I just made that for fun. And I got a lot out of it. And so I think that's an example of me really being a lot more open to listening because, man, like, even a few months ago, I don't think I ever would have chosen to do that. So that was really fun, and I hope I continue to do more things like that. On the topic of listening, I feel like I've experienced a lot of that when writing my upcoming short. I feel like a lot of what's come to me lately has just been from sitting back, trying not to think, but just let things come to me and just follow my gut. I mentioned this in my last week's video. I am feeling a fair bit of resistance towards the script that I have, and I do find myself, I keep thinking like, I'll just go back and do one more rewrite, and I keep doing it over and over again. It's to the point now where I feel like it's slowing me down, and I need to just let go and commit. I think what I'm finding tricky with being open to just following ideas is, for my pride's sake, I think there's still this hope that I can make high art if I want to. And even though it's really fun making things that are silly and easy and don't have a lot of thought into them, it would be nice to feel that I could make something really good if I wanted to. And I'm trying to just accept the fact that it's just going to take time, experience, and patience to get there. And I'm just not there yet. Again, I think there's all these career-related worries that I'm holding on to that are pushing and motivating that feeling. So I'm definitely still feeling a lot of resistance to be completely open to letting my ideas be free and letting them be bad, but I'm definitely making a lot of improvements in that regard. And on that note, there was a lot of talk in this chapter about perfectionism and how perfectionism really accomplishes nothing. And it's actually one of the biggest enemies for any creative. Of course, you should have standards to some regard for yourself and quality control with what you make, but in so many cases, it just prevents people from creating at all. And that was something that I faced for many years, up till very recently. I want to completely abandon perfectionism and be okay with failure. With that said, though, I do still think there's a perfectionist mindset in me. I think, especially with my upcoming short film, because I know that we're going to be shooting it soon, there's a lot of fears about it being good. I think the fact that I have people attached to it is motivating some of that fear. I think there's also a want that this film will make me redeem myself for my last film not performing all that well on the festival circuit. But again, I think these are all a lot of fears that I just need to let go of and just trust that if I just create freely, good things will come. On that same note, though, something that I was thinking about tonight was the resistance I feel towards my upcoming short and the script in its current state. Am I feeling hesitant because I know it isn't perfect? Or is there something in the script that just isn't quite aligning with me? And this is something that I talked about last week about how I had finally committed to this idea for the script, but it didn't feel like a kind of film that I would make. And is that something that I need to let go of? Or is there some legitimate hesitancy in there that I should listen to because it's veered away from my vision? I don't know. I'm not really sure what to make of this because I do want to ultimately make a film that I feel proud of and that I feel like is something that I want to express and want to share with people. And I think there is a feeling right now that if I was to make it in its current state, I wouldn't feel that way. Again, it might just be fear. It might just be a hurdle I need to overcome in terms of letting go of perfectionism or a certain standard with filmmaking. I'm not sure, but it's something I've been thinking about this week. Something else that I was thinking about, and Julia also mentions in the chapter, is a lot of the times perfectionism comes from being inspired by professionals and people that you look up to, which is definitely something that I've faced with music, with film. A lot of the times, the reason I actually want to make something is because I'm inspired by the art that I've seen and consumed around me. And when you aspire and you try to chase that same standard of quality, you're never going to achieve it, especially when you're first starting out. And so I think it's very important for me to start finding inspiration elsewhere. Of course, I'm still going to watch movies and listen to music and stuff like that, but I think trying to figure out a different way to be inspired to create might help this, and to stop comparing myself to the people that I look up to and the work that I admire. Again, this is all just about taking the risk to fail, which is something Julia gets into in this chapter as well. There is nothing wrong with failure. There is nothing wrong with trying things. And in doing so, I actually think that leads to a more fulfilling life. Julia also talks about how taking these mini risks can lead to a great deal of self-empowerment, because if you're able to overcome these hurdles with yourself, it unlocks so many other possibilities for what you can accomplish. Another topic this week that Julia got into was jealousy. And fortunately, I feel like that's something I'm actually recently gotten under control a lot better. I definitely have peers and people that I look up to that I do feel jealousy towards naturally, but the anger that I feel, or the resistance to that jealousy, I think has changed a lot. I think I've been able to recognize it, as mentioned in previous chapters, it being a roadmap. It's showing you that you want something that someone else has, and that you should get out of your own way and pursue that thing. And if you do that, you'll let go of that jealousy. And that's something that's really clicked with me. And I feel like I've really adapted in a pretty short period of time, because for years, I used to feel like jealousy was my biggest weakness. And if there's one thing that I could get rid of, it would be that. But I feel like this mindset shift has really helped me realize that jealousy is actually very important. It just depends on how you react to it and use it. So I'm very happy about that. And I almost feel kind of empowered by my jealousy at this point. The other thing with that too, even the people that I do feel jealousy towards, it isn't in the same way of longing for what they have. I've been able to just be okay that they're doing their own thing, I'm doing my own thing, and I'll figure out my way to make it work. And those two things can coexist. I've let go of the idea that there can only be one person that can have these things, or that because someone else has something that I want, I can't have it, or that it's further from reach, or just fucking wallowing in my own self-pity because I don't have what other people have. I'm really happy about that, because this is a big thing that I've been trying to overcome for a long time. And then I want to talk about this week's tasks because I thought they were very interesting. They were very fun. So one of the things we had to do was listen to an album and doodle. And I want to share what I did. I'm not a very good drawer, draftsman, whatever you want to call me. So don't expect high art here, but that's the whole point. So I was listening to, oh my god, I'm so happy about this pick too, because this was a perfect album to doodle to because it's so cartoony and weird. The album that I chose to listen to was Madvillainy. This is one of my favorite rap albums. I mean, it's a classic, right? This is one of the greatest rap albums of all time, but such a fun album to doodle to. And I want to share my drawings. That's supposed to be MF Doom, or like a funny looking version of MF Doom. I love that part in the first track where it's like that sound collage and that guy's like screaming for the doctor to help him. That's what I was trying to do there. That's supposed to be his eye bags. That's the Madvillainy bistro bed and breakfast, whatever the fuck MF Doom was talking about on that track, on the water. And then I tried to do a little Quasimodo drawing here. Yeah. So that was so much fun. I enjoyed doing that. And honestly, I think that's something I want to try and start doing like more often because I really got a lot out of that. We had a task of going to a sacred space and just being alone in somewhere quiet and just soaking in the solitude. And there's a beach not too far from where I live. I went there this afternoon, and I just sat in silence. I didn't have anything on me to distract me. I was actually there a lot longer than I expected to be. It was really peaceful. It was really nice. I did try meditating. I used to meditate a lot as I was entering into university, and I tried to do that a little bit. Didn't really go as well as I thought, but it was really nice to just be alone with my thoughts, not have any pressure on me, just kind of enjoy the quiet. There wasn't really anyone on the beach either, so it was really nice to just kind of be there by myself. And I really think experiences like that, being somewhere quiet and just being alone with your thoughts and not feeling the world going around you for a little while, was just really nice, and it's something everyone should do to just have a little reset moment. One of the things that we had to do was wear our favorite outfit, hence why I'm wearing a leather jacket even though it's midnight. And I also got these camo jeans. Sorry, I shouldn't be showing my fucking crotch like that, I guess, but this is my outfit. If you can, fuck, this is really awkward, but this is my outfit. So yeah, I wore that today. I love it. And we had to buy a self-loving item. And I went to a store that was doing a clearance sale today, and I got this black sweater. It's pretty basic, but it's really nice and cozy. I'm such a sucker for some good knitwear. You know what? Let's throw it on. So just a nice little self-loving item of clothing. Okay, and then this was the most fun part of this week, and this is the thing that I actually had been putting off a little bit, but I just finished tonight. I'm really happy with it. So this week, we had to make a collage. We had to cut up a bunch of magazines that we had for photos that we liked or resonated with, and mine was pretty interesting. Now, I will say, I don't buy magazines anymore. I had a little phase when I was a teenager where I did buy them a fair bit, and that was when I was going through a big crisis of masculinity. I was like 14, 15. I bought a lot of like men's health stuff, not to shade anyone who reads men's health. It's fine, but like, you know, very heavily into like, you need to do all these things to be a man. And I'm very much off that shit. I'm pretty damn confident in my masculinity now. So I don't know how much I really resonate with all this stuff. There's a lot of things in here of just like, I guess, outfit inspirations. Well, I'll just kind of show what I got and break it down. So this is my collage. Obviously the thing that really stands out is Ronaldo. I do, if you believe it or not, I do take fitness very seriously. It's a big part of my life. And this is just a little reminder that, like, you know, hopefully one day I'll have abs like that. Still trying hopefully one day I'll get there. But a lot of things about like looks and outfit inspirations. Like I really like this guy's fit. I feel like that's something I could see myself in. I really want hair like this, flowy hair like this. My hair's a bit too curly, unfortunately. I've tried growing it out like this before, and I just kind of end up looking like Ronald McDonald, but one can dream. Again, like outfits, things like that. This, a little raunchy, I guess, but whatever. I don't really know what to say to that. Hollywood stuff, you know me, trying to be a filmmaker. Please ignore the e-cigarette in his mouth. Motorcycler, I don't know. I've always seen myself being a motorcyclist at some point. That's a little dream of mine. This, yeah, definitely a little kinky there. Hopefully none of my relatives are watching this, but there's also some musician stuff in here that I just think is really cool. There's a photo of Billy Joel Armstrong that I like a lot. There's a guitarist there. There's a DJ there, just, you know, to kind of lean into my musical dreams. There's a bunch of guys doing some outdoorsy stuff. I feel like I'm not the most outdoorsy person, and that's something I would definitely like to do more of. There's a guy in a dog sled. I don't know. I love dogs. Richard Branson with a turtle. And this is maybe my favorite one. This is old couple paragliding. I just hope that when I'm at that age, I can be fun and still find ways to have adventure, enjoy my life, and do fun stuff like that as I get older. And yeah, so that's kind of my collage. I don't know if it really sums me up or my goals all that well. I might try and make another one with magazines that maybe align a bit more with who I am now, but based on all the stuff that I was into when I was 14, I'd say this works pretty well. Oh, also, look at this fucking picture of Elton John, dude. He looks so good. Look at that outfit. Look at this man. Look at this man. Anyway, thanks for indulging me. Now, unfortunately, the morning pages and the artist date weren't really that great this week. Again, I'm still finding it hard to fit morning pages in. I have a lot of early mornings, week by week, and especially with how sick I've been lately, I'm really trying to prioritize sleep. I know it's not an excuse, but I just find it really hard to get them in. I did get some done. I got about 3 in this week, but it's just not what I hoped. And I didn't really have an artist date. I feel like a lot of the tasks this week could kind of apply to an artist date, like making the collage, making the comic, even just like going down to the beach and being by myself, like things like that I think were really fun. And it was good, nice, quiet, alone, me time that I needed and enjoyed a lot. But again, I didn't really do a designated artist date, and I should have, and I feel a little bit bad about that. So while I enjoyed this week a lot, and I did get a lot out of it, and it was really nice to kind of spend a lot of time babying myself and having fun, like making the collage. I felt like a kid again back in school making art projects. Like I had so much fun doing that. And I think I took a lot from this week to show me that a lot of this could be really enjoyable for myself. With that said though, I still think a big hurdle I need to overcome is time management. That was a big thing that just tripped me up a bit this week, unfortunately. And I feel like all week, and honestly recently in the last few weeks, I've spent so much of my time just playing catch up with myself. And it's really exhausting. And so hopefully going forward, I can make that a little easier for myself, or put a little bit more effort into that. Which is convenient timing because next week's focus is on time. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to get started on my tasks way earlier this week. Really let the topics marinate and spend a lot more time thinking about them as I go about my week. I do have a lot going on again this week, unfortunately. So if there's ever a week where time management is important, it's this one. I will say too, right now, with only having a few weeks left to prep for my short, I definitely am feeling a lot of pressure and a fair bit of stress in terms of getting everything organized, but we'll see how it all goes. That's especially a reason why I want to let go of my doubts with my script, because I just want to get into making the damn thing and getting things prepared. So things are exciting, things are good, things have been fun. we'll see how things go going forward. I'm glad that I'm still sticking to doing these videos. Wish me luck on my prep for my short. I'll keep you guys updated, whoever is out there watching. And I'm gonna go to bed. I'm fucking tired. Thank you for listening and watching. I appreciate it. I will talk to you later.